Well, isn't this interesting? My goodness, this is not very flattering, is it? Yes, indeed, I'll have to do some improvements on myself. So, it's a rainy day here in Ontario, Canada. So, what have you been doing today? I have been. What have I been doing? I went on Pinterest and I found out that gourds, like some of my gourds have broken tops, like a long skinny one with a tube at the top, a fat one with a tube, and the top will be broken off. But you know what? If I got a cork the right size or some other device, probably a cork would be best. I could cut it off evenly, and then I could put a collar of something like some kind of bark, like cedar bark, and I could sew that on, or even just glue it on, make it so that it's a stronger end. I could weave it on. Then you could plug it with the cork, but you have to make sure your cork it's got to be smooth on the inside. So I don't know if you could weave around it to do that. Oh, hi, Carol Jean. Nice to see you. Well, and Lois. Hello. Well, this was a good idea, wasn't it? I haven't got anything I'm talking about exactly. I'm just sort of sitting around enjoying the morning. It's very rainy. And I'm upstairs. The kids have all moved out of this room. Elida and her family lived here, and that's my grandmother hooked that. I've got to fix some of it, and that's all of her supplies. Got to get back into rug hooking. Thought I would bring up my mother's desk and put it right here in front of the window. Isn't that a great view? I mean, if you could put a desk in that spot and look out at that view, wouldn't you? Have the birds come right there and you could open and feed them. I like this rocking chair. This was in my mother's basement. It's a very, very old rocking chair. It's got a kind of a oilcloth seat. It's like linoleum. Anyway, so, Ellen Brown, hello. Good, this is great. Well, you know why? It's because I'm not on my phone, I'm on my laptop. So now I know how to make a video. I just need to use my laptop. Except it's better when I use your phone, because if you look at the picture of yourself, hello, it doesn't look like you're looking down into the corner of the screen. Like, why is she looking down there? What's down there in the corner? So I have to look up there at that black dot. Have you ever watched the news and people are interviewing other people, and unless they look at the black dot, you don't see them straight, right? And so while one person is talking and the other one's looking at the black dot, looking at the camera, I just think how boring it must be to sit there and focus on that black dot while you're listening to this other person that you want to respond to. But no, you're got to keep your eyes on that black dot, because that's the audience. So you can't be seen just looking down here, checking yourself out. No, you can't do that. Telephone's ringing. Telephone rang earlier. Does yours make a different sound if it's a local call or if it's long distance? Those of you that still have a landline, do you still have a landline? I always had a landline. My parents had the same phone number for 60 years. Yeah, that's a long time. Little Miss Sunshine. Hello, sweet Nancy. Well, thank you. You know what I've learned lately? I've learned that I must keep my mouth shut about my political views, because everybody is quite entrenched into their feelings, and I better not say anything. So I won't. But I voted yesterday. I got a ballot, an absentee ballot sent to me in Canada. It was sent by email, and I printed it out. And I phoned them down there to find out exactly what to do, and she wasn't very sure about absentee ballots. But anyway, so I don't trust the U.S. post system at the moment, so I I should feel free, but things will change. Everything will change, and I don't want to stir up angry feelings. But I did spend $60, which is a lot of money, to FedEx my ballot down there. Yeah, you should be able to say what you think, but free speech is not happening right now. There's a whole culture out there. I didn't know do you know what cancel culture means? I had no idea. So I watched a video about it. Well, it turns out cancel culture is if anybody is politically incorrect, says something that could possibly be construed as offensive to someone with long toes. Do you know that phrase, long toes? Someone with long toes gets offended easily. When I grew up, you were not supposed to get offended easily. That was sort of like a no-no. You're supposed to I didn't understand what you just said, Ellen. I have to think about that. Anyway, it was here and then now it's gone. I forgot what I was going to say. You said gets bad people to come on and say bad things to be political now. Oh, yeah, cancel culture. That's right, cancel culture. If I said things that were derogatory to some group, that group would probably go and start a boycott kind of a thing. And so then the person that said that gets a really bad rap. Everybody hears how terrible that person is. So I think that's what cancel culture is. It's sort of the canceling of a person's reputation. I thought it was like that shows that people liked were getting canceled. I didn't. I mean, how would I know? Yes, everyone's going to have a different opinion. Yeah, it's when I grew up, that was another thing my parents taught me was you don't discuss religion or politics. Even two Christians who both love Jesus Christ with all their hearts. If you start talking and they're in different religions, pretty soon there'll be a little war going on. Same with politics. And it's interesting that a presidential election is always a very emotional topic. I remember when I was young, my parents talking about McCarthy. And if he got in and Barry Goldwater, and that Barry Goldwater would push the button on the bomb, he would. And so they were very concerned about these two different elections. I was very young, Goldwater, and I don't even remember the other one. I think I was very young with that one. But I have a school picture from, I guess it was 1964, because I would have been about in grade 4. It's true that speaking about religion, we can help each other. Like I can tell you what I believe, and maybe it'll add to your own or something. Like I discovered something yesterday. I discovered the way to be happy. I know, like, hello, you discovered the way to be happy. I already was happy, but I discovered how to become happy right now. Okay, so we'll try a little trick, we'll try a test. So think of something that you are really grateful for. Just one thing. You're really grateful for that thing. Now think a little more about how really grateful you are. And then think about how happy you are that you had this blessing. Do you feel better? Does that put a smile on your face? It can be anything. Chimney. There's a chimney going through this room. I am really grateful. I mean, I really couldn't care less about that chimney, just to be clear. But if I think about it, actually, I am grateful that I have a chimney because it attaches to the wood stove and sends the smoke outside. You know what it would be like if there was no chimney? Well, first of all, I couldn't light the fire. which also means that we couldn't be warm unless we, I don't know, did other things like use electric heat. Like we do have the house is all electric heat wired because your insurance company makes sure you have that. But and so if I think about it a little more about how I really actually am grateful that we had the money at the time we needed the money and that we had this put in when we had it put in, although if it was put in later, I would have had it on that side, but we weren't thinking about that. But so I am grateful that I have this. I'm grateful it's silver and it's pretty and it reflects what's going on in this room. It's got different colors on it from the red thing on the couch and the orange thing on the floor and, of course, the windows. I looked out the window this morning and the rain on the ground. And yeah, Pollyanna. Being a Pollyanna is really important. It is important to see the good and to see the possibilities and how everything is going to be fine, because in reality it is. Of course, you may have to go through a lot of hell before it's fine, but in the end it will be fine. Everything will work out. Everything will pass, and it came to pass, it never came to stay. Every trial that we have is temporary. Maybe it lasts for 80 years. But if you think about how long eternity is, now just get a load of this. Picture this. Okay, picture a line all the way around the earth. And then picture a pinprick on that line. Guess what that pinprick is? That is your life. That is how important that trial is in your life at this moment. And how you think it's going to last forever and ever. 80 years seems to be a long time. And yet, it's a pinprick on eternity. You have always lived and you will always live. And everything is very small in comparison to that. Right? Anyway, there's another way to make yourself happy if you're miserable. If you put a pen in your mouth, just do that. It puts your mouth into a happy phrase. And it will help. But if you want to frown, how do you hold your pen under your nose with your lip. Look at yourself doing that. Isn't that fun? You can't look at the dot if you're looking at yourself, though. Oh, well. That's why glasses that reflect are really very good, because if they're reflecting, you don't know if I'm looking at you, if I'm looking at, look at those lines right across my eyes. See, then you can't tell if I'm looking down there, if I'm looking there. Now, if I put this on full screen, how can I do that? Can you do that when you're making a video? I don't know. All right. So that's how you can be happy. Be grateful. I was really down in the depths of depression once upon a time. And somebody had said, and I didn't know it was before the internet, and there was something about gratitude. And so gratitude, I think we'd had a talk about gratitude and joy. And gratitude it's kind of a prerequisite for joy, don't you think? For really deep, full joy. Like this COVID has taken away most of Babylon from us, right? All of the things that you spend millions of hours in stores buying, we don't spend millions of hours in stores anymore. I guess people do it online, right? Oh, you can make it full screen, but I can't. You see, there's this whole live chat column over on this side. Let's see if I push edit, what does that do? I don't know. Just cancel that because I don't know what happened. Then there's the live chat over here. Pop out chat, participants, 2 gold times, stamp. Toggle times, I don't know what that's about. Oh well, but I don't see a way to make this screen I'm on Studio. YouTube studio, and it's got this little thing at that side and the big thing at this side. And I could write something to you. I could say, hello, it's raining here. How's it there? I'm going to put bird food in that feeder. I'm going to hand feed the birds. Have you ever watched the hand feeding the birds videos on here? My birds are amazing. I mean, I think chickadees are like this, but when I grew up, my mother's chickadees, they never came and sat on me when I was sitting on the deck. But my chickadees here do. They'll sit on me. They'll follow me through the woods. They'll come to a tree. There'll be a flock of them. And then one will drop down low and he'll talk to me. If I go full screen, you won't be able to see the chat. Well, I can't see it. I can't go full screen anyway because I haven't a clue how. Now there's these dots down here. There's all these dots. The first one is green. What's all that about? Oh, look, there's a chickadee. He heard me talking about him. He's probably up there just singing, waiting. Chickadee dee dee dee. Yep, he's waiting, hoping. Waiting, hoping, and wishing. Isn't there a song like that? Waiting, hoping, wishing. Cold and drippy in Wisconsin too, eh? Do you have a project? What are your, now that you have to come inside, what are you going to do? I made myself a spot up here beside the bed where I can just sit and read a book, put my legs on the bed, sit in the rocking chair. You know, I can turn my chair and face out the window, or I can face in. I have my Google Doc. I love my Dot. I just tell her to do things and she does it. But if I say it on here, she'll do it on yours. Unless you have got your voice pattern to it. It's a pretty interesting idea that somebody talking on a video can make something happen to a device in your house. Like if I told it to tell all devices to broadcast something or whatever. Now and then my son says something and it gets broadcasted here. In Texas, it's supposed to snow? On what day? Monday. But it's in the 80s today. But Texas, that's good for Texas. I heard it was really hot there in the hundreds. Of course, maybe not where you are. Texas is pretty big. It's one thing about Texas. First to get the snow this year, eh? Oh, you're canning everything. What, like from your garden? I have all these canning jars and a canner that Ben gave me. And because they used to do a lot of gardening. He also had a hydroponic system. He was going to grow his whole garden every year. But anyway, like other things, he grew tired of it, and I have it now. So I'm going to set up the big room up here with lots of garden. I'm going to bring in all the red kale, and I have several kinds of plants out there that never got transplanted out properly, and they're still crowded, and I could bring them in and try and grow them in here. Wouldn't that be fun? It's warm up here because of that chimney, that good chimney that makes me smile now. Yes, so you're canning everything. Canning lids are coming back. Like canning lids it's hard to find canning lids. I tried to find some and now they're plastic instead of the rings. Snowing in eastern Michigan? You know, you don't think you're out of time until the snow flies. But it starts off small. It starts off when it's raining, some of the rain comes down as snow. Is there a name for that? Oh, there's no canning lids to be found? Interesting. I'm so blessed. I have all these 10 cases of jars. I think most of them are pint. But you know what I was going to do? I think I'm just going to make some soups. I'm going to make some really nice vegetable soups. And I'm going to can them. And then I'll have them and I can just have dinner when I want, instead of always having to nuke potatoes if I didn't already make something. We eat a lot of nuked potatoes with salmon, canned salmon, and frozen peas. But I've been harvesting everything that's out there. Do you know? Oh, that's so cool. You've been getting free produce. Do you realize that a lot of what grows, if you have cow manure in your garden, old, all the seeds from the fields are in it. And so here we get pigweed, which is amaranth. Have you heard of amaranth flour? You heard of amaranth seeds? They're high in protein. So you could go out there and you can harvest the seeds off of the pigweed. And what about lamb's quarters? Lamb's quarters just grow and you can eat them. And so all year we harvested pigweed and lamb's quarters and also mallow. They're all good salad things. And I just had Willem dehydrate them all. And then I've been going out finding mushrooms. Boletes have a sponge bottom. So if you find a mushroom with a sponge bottom, it's worth looking up. You might want to take a picture of it underneath and on top and put a piece of white paper under it and a piece of black paper under the other half of it and see what happens. Come back and see if, it's the spore print is really important and the gills, how they're attached or not attached. Plus on the stem of a mushroom is a ring. It's either there or not there. A color, the top, the shape of the top, if it's concave, convex, wiggly on the edges. There's so many mushrooms out there. It's important to know the deadly mushrooms first. The angel of death is white, not very big, has a bit of a skinny stem. So if you find a white mushroom that's not very big, I would just imagine that it could be that. Also, there's lots and lots of little tiny brown mushrooms, which are called LBMs, little brown mushrooms. Avoid them all. Also, often the ones that grow on the sides of trees and in great big clusters at the base of an oak tree, like at the base of an oak tree, you'll find this thing with lots of little roofs all over in it. And that hen of the woods, you can't really confuse it with something else. And oyster mushrooms that grow like shelves on a tree, but they're soft and there's a certain shape, right? And there's a certain color, and it's hard to confuse them with anything else. So anyway, I've been learning a lot about that. Are you in northern New York, Carol? By Halloween, it's not uncommon to have 3 or 4 inches of snow by Halloween. Well, I don't know when we get our snow. Sometimes, I remember one year it came the 20th of October and it stayed all the way. That was the year I married Willem. Oh, you're canning dry beans. And canning soups. Yeah, isn't that a good way to use your vegetables? Otherwise you've got to freeze them, and then you probably don't want to use as many as you freezed in one package, or they're all in a big solid chunk together. However, you lose some of the vitamins in the heat of canning, but you lose it also in other kinds of heating it up. Some better than others, right? If you can have it raw, that's great, but if you can't. So we've got a lot of stuff is still in the garden. There's Brussels sprouts are finally growing. They look beautiful. They're coming along on the stems. And there's still broccoli. Broccoli, it's amazing how many shoots, when you take the top off the broccoli, how many shoots you get. And you just keep coming up. You think that you're done with the broccoli, and then you go out and there's something in yellow flower and you missed a thing. Anyway, and there's collard greens. The collard greens were very big. I hadn't used them. I think if I had been using them the whole time, they would have been growing more. But I think they just grew to one size and stayed there. But the stems are so good, aren't they? And Willem has been blanching the Swiss chard. And after he blanched some, I said, oh, I want to eat it. And it was, usually there's a bit of a taste to Swiss chard that vinegar goes well with. Maybe it's an astringent. Is that the one that turns your mouth out? Dry mouth. It's nice talking to you guys. So Willem has been dehydrating and dehydrating and dehydrating and dehydrating. All these mushrooms I find, puffballs, my friend gave me. She had 2 of these. I'm sorry I have dirty hands. These giant puffballs. I've been gardening. And actually no, I was wiping off a previously gardened on surface. Collards are your favorite, eh? I like collards. I love the stems. Anyway, so Willem has now got so many cases of canned food because of canning all these weeds and all these giant mushrooms, which we cut down into slices and little cubes or whatever, and he puts them in jars and dries them and puts them in jars. And he dehydrated the beans and peas. We just ate them in the garden. But anyway, so and fiddleheads at the very beginning of the season, we always have a huge amount of fiddleheads. So those are he dehydrated them. And nettles. Nettles are a staple. If you put the kettle on in the morning and just put in a tablespoon or 2 of nettles in a quart jar, fill it up with hot water, and then you just drink it all day, and it'll give you energy and strength, and you don't need anything else. I mean, you do get hungry at mealtime, right? But you don't. It sustains you very well. My friend really does that a lot. She just lives on nettles. And she also lives on these seeds, the garden seeds. Ah, yes. Oh, in the Adirondacks. Is that where you are? Oh, that's very pretty. Every time I go to Connecticut, I have to go around them. Either have to go down under them or you have to go way up above them, but it's very slow to go through them. I'd like to make an Adirondack basket one day. Wouldn't that be fun? Oh, I hear my sweetheart. Hello, Willem. We're having a live video chat in here.
Oh, all right.
Hi, how are you?
Hi. I'm going to go to the clinic to pick up a prescription for my gout.
Okay. Did you have some more nettle tea for it?
Not today.
Did it help yesterday at all? Did you find a difference?
Yeah.
Did you find it took some of the pain away, or
no, not really?
Not at all.
But I pulled some old pills for indomethacin. I took 2 this morning, and it worked wonders. I still have a little bit, but it's I can function fully.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, but they were old, so I'm gonna get some fresh ones.
How do you get gout? That's from having such a rich diet. You don't get sugar.
No, I didn't. You
don't get any desserts or any fun stuff.
Most like fat and protein, I think. I do have a lot of peanuts lately and a lot of fat. So.
Oh.
So maybe that's what it is. I don't know.
And yet you're getting skinny. Look at you, skinny man. You're gonna match your skinny wife.
Weight, yeah. Anyway.
Love you. So you're going to town, are you? You're going to the village. All right. Well, maybe could I come along? Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, guys, I guess I'm gonna go. The nettles saved the Irish during the potato famine. Nettles are amazing. If the grocery stores can't supply us, if the system breaks down for any reason, you have to know what's out there around you that you can eat. And stuff like nettles, you just have to disturb the soil and they show up, right? Anyway, so I'm going to go to the dollar store. I have all these things that I bought from the dollar store that I never used and really didn't need. And I'm going to take them all back and I'm going to buy pens. You can only get a swap. So I'm going to get, I need pens. I'm starting to write in my paper journal again. I love carrying my journal around in my pen. It's wonderful. It's nice. Your life goes with you and you can keep up with what's happening in your life. And if you can't remember what you did this morning, it's right there. You just wrote it down so you remember it a lot quicker. You remember what you did yesterday too, because you wrote that down. You remember writing it. It's hard sometimes to take the time to do this because you get a lot less done if you have to write about what you did. Anyway, So, oh, hello. How are you, Marie? Anyway, oh, and how are the fires out there in California? Does anybody know what's the latest? My sister's in California. I suppose I should just text her, but she's in San Francisco, and the fires are down there, not very far. But I don't know if everything. You only get a three days of the news, whatever the news is about. After 3 days, it's like it never happened. Well, thanks for this nice time together. I forgot I could just do this. I don't have to phone somebody and talk on the phone. I could just make live videos on YouTube with my laptop all the time. It's like the way when I figured out I could divorce my first husband. It's this feeling, it was like I had always had the power and I had never known it. Colorado's also burning. Yeah, I know that about uric acid. Whenever you make a trip south, you generally go, really? Oh my gosh, I could come and see you, Carol, if you want to see me. I don't know. Usually after people get to know me in person, they don't really want to be friends with me anymore. It's very interesting. Like people that are great friends on here, as soon as I've met them in person, they never comment on anything anymore. It's like, and they don't watch the videos, I think. I don't understand. But anyway, that's what happens. So maybe we shouldn't meet. Look how long my hair's gotten. Look at that. I haven't had hair this long since I was a teenager. In fact, it's really long. It needs to be trimmed because the ends are all, I try to use really good shampoo that won't wreck my hair, but I got paint in it and I sit here picking it out and I'm making split ends. Anyway, it was nice chatting. I'll call you again later. Bye. Northern California, the skies are clearer now. Bless the firefighters. Yes, indeed. Yes. Thank you, Ellen. Thank you. Okay, now next time, let's tell me what you guys are doing, okay? Okay, so I gotta go. Bye. Look, there we go. Yes, I am sure. Not yet. Well, maybe not yet. Goodbye.